Hi, dumplings. This is your weekly tarot forecast for February 28th to March 6th, 2022. So we're wrapping up February this week and moving on forward into March, our first official month of spring in the Northern Hemisphere. And we are doing so with a lot of energy behind us. There's a lot going on in the stars this week. So we have on the 2nd, our new moon in Pisces. It's exact at 12:35 p.m. ET. And this is a really idealistic new beginning. Pisces is the dreamer of the zodiac, the intuitive of the zodiac, and new moons are a time to look inward and check in with what new beginnings are forming inside of us that are ready to be taken action on, to be made manifest. This is a time to be hopeful about what we're setting intention for and what we're creating. This is our last new moon of winter, which is taking us forward into spring and brighter, longer days. And it's also forming a conjunction to Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. So a real invitation to be optimistic about what we can create. Meanwhile, Mercury and Saturn are also conjunct to the degree in Aquarius at the time of this lunation. And the next day, Venus, Mars, and Pluto are conjunct to the degree in Capricorn. So a real serious energy coming in here to this new moon chart. So while we are, hopeful and visionary and interested in what's possible, there's a sense of seriousness coming in here, a need for commitment, and a desire for transparency and honesty. We're not interested in gaslighting ourselves at the time of this new moon. We're committing. On the 6th, Mars and Venus both shift into Aquarius. Venus enters 7 minutes after Mars. They're right on each other's tails right now. And since the 24th of January, these two planets have been dancing together in Capricorn. And now the energy shifts this week when they move into Aquarius. So rather than be interested in structure and seriousness and like how things have been done in a time-honored tradition kind of sense, we're shifting into more of a freewheeling, individuality prizing way of creating what it is we're creating this week. So we have a 3 of Swords, the World, and the 5 of Wands. So as we're wrapping up February, we're wrapping up something big in our lives. We're wrapping up a full cycle of growth, a full cycle of learning, and feeling into that sense of completion. What is complete for you this winter? Moving into March, we're ready for a new beginning. And in order to really push on forward into that new beginning or even clarify what that new beginning is about for us, we have to feel, we have to feel what's being said goodbye to along with the completion of this last chapter. The World is the very last card of the majors. And it invites us to, honor all the lessons we've learned, all the doors we've walked through, all the people we've been, all the layers that we have acquired, all the dimensions of ourselves that, have been built out in our lives, a really intense energy. And there is intensity here with the 3 of Swords. It's a time to feel. It's a time to feel what's present for you. Through feeling your feelings, that's the way to transform, and that's the way to catalyze growth at this time. You don't need to think too hard about what's next or what's new, but just be with yourself right now. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on in your world, and that has to be okay. Remind yourself of that consciously. It has to be okay to make time and space for just being a human being. Because only when we allow ourselves to be a human being can we actually observe with clarity what's going on and how we can become involved in a way that is constructive. With the 5 of Wands, we see a lot of chaos around us. We see a lot of creative tension building. And there's an energy of, stepping back and being like, whoa, where do I even start? Just a lot of energy. a lot of sensory stimulation coming in here. And the invitation isn't to, just leave and just disassociate. It's to really be even more intentional, actually, about the wisdom, the feedback of your emotions, and say, okay, what am I being told here? What am I noticing here? And what does this mean about my needs? What does this mean about how I can show up for myself so that I can show up to support this process that's becoming, built in my life here. With the Five of Wands, there's a lot of creative tension that's not necessarily bad in any sort of way. We can associate this card with chaos. We can associate this card with, a shit show and just a lot of chaos. But it's also a really dynamic time of growth and change. And this might be happening in your inner world. You might be just aware that a lot is changing for you right now. And this is a time to be slow and intentional in how we're navigating that change and how we're pulling together energies and pulling together ideas and merging and mixing in order for things to reach a point where they're stable and beautiful and solid. We have to go through that messy period, we have to go through uncertainty in order for things to reach a different level of clarity. Where are you feeling that energy in your life right now with the Five of Wands? Where are you feeling like that initial, like, whoa, I don't want this. Whoa, everything in my body says no. Some layer of that, some part of that is changing. You are changing, maybe becoming more resilient by being willing to love yourself through those moments of feeling averse to something so that you can actually be present and show up. The Three of Swords can be an all-consuming energy where we just feel our emotions. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, this is one of the few cards that don't have any animals or people in it. It's just that heart that's being pierced by the swords, and the clouds are part. There's no, questioning what we feel. It's just an experience of our emotions, and that can be all-consuming. But the invitation is to remember that we're not actually alone in that. It can be really easy to turn in on yourself and isolate yourself and maybe let emotions swallow you. But in those moments, remind yourself, that other people have felt this way before. It's not true that you are alone this week. It's not true. And even though it might feel challenging, to actually prove that to ourselves, actually maybe reach out, or actually maybe, make some connection. It's the move. It's the move. The Four of Cups. So we want what we want. We want to live in alignment with our values, and that is a good thing. We want to live in alignment with our truth, not some ready-made truth that is just presented to us from outside of us. And that's good. That's a good thing. Honor that. Honor that this week. We don't want more of what we don't want. We only want what we can truly receive. However, there's a difference, between the Four of Cups and the Five of Wands, in that there's such a creative tension of building something new. Maybe we have more agency than we think. Maybe we're sitting back here in this moment feeling helpless, feeling like I can't receive, I can't, give, I can't whatever. And that's okay to feel that, cups, emotions. But our actions can happen before thoughts change, right? Actions prove things to our mind. Actions change how we think about things. Actions change how we feel about things sometimes. And the way that you did things in the past, the way that you felt in the past, doesn't need to be how you feel moving forward. In fact, it can't. In fact, it can't with the world. The end of something. The end of something big. Maybe for some of us on a personal level, the end of a role that you were occupying, the end of a hope, the end of a dream, the end of a chapter of your life, one that you learned so much from, everything up to this point. The world is different than death in that there's a sense that with death, you know, we are kind of thinking about like what needs our acknowledgement, what is draining in a sense here. But with the world, it's like you've done everything, like you've passed all the tests, and this is a sense of completion in that like you've been on a journey and now you're here. You know, a sense of perspective that is different than death. It's not like something is taken away from us, but we can still feel that way. We can still feel that sense of loss. We can still certainly feel that sense of grief. But we have that other layer of like, you know, looking back on the past and knowing that every step has gotten us to this moment. And we are who we are now because of all the steps we took in the past. So now what? Now what? That's a question to ask the tarot. The Eight of Wands. A lot of fast action coming in here. A lot of fast movement, swiftness. If you need a break in general this week, take a break. It's really important to stay grounded in the energy of the Eight of Wands. It's really important to think about the structure of our life, the structure of the flow of energy. Are you feeling in control of things in a way that allows you to feel decently, you know, able to move through your life with ease? Or maybe there's a sense with the Eight of Wands that, you know, motion is lotion and momentum is your friend. Let's pull an Earth Magic Oracle card here. To cap off this reading. All right, DNA karma. All right. I never know if it's DNA or karma that's going to be the wisdom message. Just bear with me for a moment here. DNA, okay. Here we are. Aspects of your soul entered your primitive physical self long before you had begun to take form. While the DNA that you inherited from your biological parents has a physical component, it also has a soul pattern that came together in the creation of you. You are predisposed to follow the karmic dictates of this patterning to some extent. Yet as you evolve in your consciousness and expand the light of awareness, you can make choices that shift and modify this ancestral design. This is one of those times. You can feel the tug of your soul that is both ancient and karmic, yet you also recognize the persistent and loving communication from your higher self that contradicts the more familiar solutions before you. The choice is up to you, but know that every time you heed the guidance of your higher self, no matter what etheric or physical form it takes, human consciousness is elevated. In a sense, it becomes a choice between destiny and fate. Cool. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Really, really interesting. Let's pull one more oracle card here from my Universe Has Your Back deck. Joy is the ultimate creator. Joy is the ultimate creator. When you are feeling joy, you are creative, you are powerful, and filled with energy. So I invite you to make space for joy this week, knowing that it is constructive. Sweet people, I'm sending you all of my love this week and beyond. If you would like a reading with me, hit the link in my bio. I would love to serve.